Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, which is an amazing book, a really solid, really messed up book, but I will recommend it. Now, I just been hearing about this story, this book, for a few months ago. Apparently, this first story came out in 2024. It is right now. Its sequel has come out. I have finished reading this like a couple of days ago, and what we have here is a really solid independent book. As much as I love talking about the big two and we read about the big two, I can't wait to read the Superman Spider-Man crossover and all of that. But with a capital B, and I'm going to talk about Daredevil when they do their, back to number one, and I'm talking about Batman and all that. As much as I enjoy talking about the big two, occasionally you want to read something that isn't them. You know what I mean? You want some kind of breather. And I kept hearing about this one, and the words were, it's Dexter meets, like, Sesame Street. Or Dexter meets whatever humanoid, animal mush children's show that you want to compare it to. Because Samantha, who is our main character, is a serial killer. And you find that now in the first, 5 pages that she is a serial killer. And she's a serial killer with a code. Well, she has a bit of a code, but not as much of a code as, say, Dexter does. But she has only one rule. Make sure this town that she lives in, that this town is safe. Or at least that it's quiet. She enjoys this town is like a town where nothing happens. You just go to the cafe, have your breakfast, go to work, and then go back home for 5 days, and then celebrate and do your chores on the weekends. Nothing happens. It's a peaceful town. So she moves to the city to get her victims. But one day when there's a big float happening, a big parade, where the town is celebrating its big birthday, there's a murder. There's a murder in the town. And so there's a big question of who is the killer? Who is the killer? Now, clearly it's not Samantha, spoiler alert, but you have this mystery, and you're trying to figure out who he is, and it finds a way to, like, the thing is about serial killer, making a serial killer your main character, is you're not meant to like them, or you're questioning, why do I want to root for them? Why do I want to follow them? And the idea is to make them so damn fascinating you can't look away. And Samantha, of how she goes on herself, how she, treats everyone. Look, she acts normal. She's like, hi. And, at the beginning, it's just, for, 4 pages max, it's, a lot of, hi, how you going, Samantha? Hey, man, how you going? Hey, Gary, how you going? Yeah, her being very welcoming to this community. So, her investigating, and how she investigates, how she's choosing to figure it out, and who gets victimed, who are the next victims, well, spoilers, seems to be people who the town are annoyed, or who might be a major problem, who people might not particularly like, or they, just are the wrong place at the wrong time. And when the reveal happens, as much as it's it took me a while to reveal, who is it? Who's the oh shit? And you realize the oh shit was essentially X, and you go, oh, why you? Why are you murdering these people? and the reasoning is so bleak and dark, and it kind of shows that sometimes, like, look, number one with stories is that you need a motivation. Your antagonist needs a motivation, and your antagonist needs a motivation for doing the stuff they're doing. And it kind of shows that sometimes in life, people just do shit. People just do it because their brain is so messed up. Or they justify it in some weird, small, petty way that doesn't seem, what's the right word? I don't want to say plausible, but seems to be the suitable. I don't know how to put the right word, but like what they find justifiable. And as ridiculous the reasoning is, it's also understanding why they're doing the killer's doing all these things. Now, the investigating itself, like, there's a scene where Samantha once again, the Dexter side of things, sneaks into someone's house. Clearly, she had no hurry. But there's this, you sense how she has been doing this for a while. 20 years, 2 decades, she's been killing people. And how she kills people is a very gruesome, like, really cold-hearted way. You get the needle. No Dexter reference, but, and how she gets rid of her bodies and all that kind of stuff. The only real criticism I have with this, and it's probably just a nitpick, realistically, with this story is that there are animals that, as we see, this is a world where animals walk and talk like humans, but they're also regular animals. So it is a little bit of like a world building situation of like, is this like a weird Planet of the Apes situation? Is this a little bit don't think about it? Because there's a scene where Samantha is next to a flipping grizzly bear. And I'm like, how does this work? And sure, it is a situation where don't think about it. But there is a little bit of that whole, like, how does this work in a more world building and make sense of the world that we have here. The reasoning once again of the killer was pretty like petty, but petty in a way that makes sense. The more the story goes, the more bleak you see Samantha is, seeing her true self, how she is this cold, not feeling any sort of emotion. I mean, you get the classic, like, everyone's crying at the funeral, and Samantha's the only one who's, like, crying, grieving. I don't understand this. So she has no emotions on that part of things. So, I mean, look, it's a weird, for a murder mystery, that where a murderer is trying to solve the murder of the murder mystery, it's a really neat way, and kind of is it's a page turner. You keep looking at the page, you're like, oh no, what's happening? Oh my god! And you're like, how much more? Oh my god! I can read this all. I can read this in one go. That feeling, and that's what you want from a book. And I was like, okay, this is a recommendation that I hear a lot of people saying, and a lot of people recommend. And let's say this, internet, you have been right, and I am part of that camp. Recommend Beneath the Trees When Nobody Sees. Comment below if you have read this book.